Alright, good morning, good morning. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to another live stream today. Today is February 3rd, 2025, and to start off today, I do want to go take a look at the economic calendar to see if there's any red photo news, and there is ISM manufacturing PMI getting released here at 10 a.m. Eastern time. So that is going to bring in volatility into the markets. But as of right now, I don't necessarily have a bias. So on the daily time frame today, we actually gapped down from Sunday's opening. From Sunday's opening, right? So we created this larger gap here. And I'm going to denote that by a orange box. So that's the gap down from Sunday and between Sunday's opening price and the Friday's closing price, right? So there's a pretty big gap. And we did complete the daily objective I had coming into today. So on the previous daily candle, here on Friday, I was anticipating for previous day low to be taken, which is Friday's low, and I would denote that by a green line. So I wanted to see prices take up previous day low here coming into this week on NQ. However, like I said, whenever we gap down, we actually completed the daily objective. So after the daily objective gets completed, I no longer have a daily bias. I would have to rely on the intraday time frames, such as the 4-hour, 6-hour, 8-hour, 10-hour for my higher time frame objective, right? So coming into this morning, I am going to wait until the 4-hour candle, this candle right here, and I'm going to wait for this 8-hour candle to close. Depending on how we close here on those two time frames, the 4-hour and the 8-hour, will give me a morning objective. But I'm not completely too sure what we really want to do here. Just because we have already completed the daily time frame. But like I said, we'll see how the 4-hour and the 8-hour candle closes first before I really want to say, or I guess confirm an objective, right? Some new things that did get introduced with the opening of this week is that we are creating a new monthly candle, right? So this was the previous monthly candle. This was January's candle. And based on the way that we closed here on January's candle, I am actually anticipating actually nothing here coming into the next monthly candle, right? With the way that we closed here last month, I can't really say that we're going to take out previous month's high or previous month's low. I am not completely too sure what we want to do on that time frame specifically. So I can't use the monthly time frame as some sort of higher time frame order flow, right? Or a higher time frame objective. Same thing here with the weekly time frame. The weekly time frame, I was like, it looks rather bullish, right, on this weekly candle. But the fact that we don't have any displacement here coming into, or I guess like previously in this leg up here, in this entire leg up, there isn't any supporting fair value gaps for us, for prices to tell me that, hey, we're going to take out previous week's high, right? So, but the way that we close on the weekly time frame, like I was thinking maybe we could take out previous week's high, but pay attention to how we close here on the daily. So like I said, on Friday, we created a bearish closure. I was anticipating for us to take out previous day low. So the daily time frame was suggesting lower prices, and the weekly time frame was suggesting either, like, I can't use the weekly time frame for an objective or higher prices. It was either those two, but with the way that there's misalignment between the daily and the weekly, I just didn't want to use the daily or the weekly time frame as some sort of higher time frame bias, right? But yeah, very, very interesting closures so far coming into the first, I guess, quarter of the year. One thing that I do want to draw your attention to is you guys want to pay attention to this yearly candle here, right? This is the yearly candle for NQ, and based on how we closed there on that yearly candle, I am anticipating for us to take out the yearly high right here, right? So just based on that candle there, I am anticipating for us to take out the yearly high for that candle. But like I said, on the we have to align the yearly time frame with like the 4-month time frame or the 6-month time frame or something like that, right? Even the 1 month time frame isn't exactly suggesting higher prices just yet. And you guys can yeah.
Mẹ rút cái cơm ra nhá. Tại con để cơm nó lâu quá cái cơm nó chảy á.
Okay, okay.
Không thì mẹ để như vậy tí con ăn mà nó thấy hết cơm thì con vét nó ra rồi ghim cơm khác nha.
Okay.
Còn không cơm nó ít quá mà cứ để vậy nó cháy cái nồi ấy.
But yeah, just notice how I can apply this concept of power of 3 on every single time frame. This is how you kind of understand when prices is fractal, right? I'm able to apply that the same open, high, low, close with every single candle because prices in time is fractal, just like ICT states. This is how I interpret price. And one thing, whenever you're applying power of 3 here too, with every single candle's creation, right, there's a open. So coming into Sunday, I always mark out the weekly open of, I guess, this current week. The weekly open is 21,280. That's the weekly open. And more specifically, that's also the monthly open because we're creating a new monthly candle here. So if we're anticipating a open, low, high, close candle, right? What is the best buys in this scenario? The best buys are always going to be below the monthly open. So you would want to buy somewhere within that orange box, right? And vice versa for sellers. If you're anticipating a open, high, low, close, open, high, low. Yeah? Yeah. Okay. So if you're anticipating a open, high, low, close, then it's, like I said, it's best for you to be a seller above the open. And this applies on every single time frame. So this could be a weekly candle, this could be a monthly candle, this could be a daily candle. This could even be a 4-hour, 6-hour, 8-hour, 10-hour candle, right? Even 15-minute. These candles here, like here, this is a 4-hour candle chart, right? Notice how there's an open, high, low, close, or open, low, high, close on every single candle. Let's take a look. Does the 15-minute look any different than the 4-hour? Absolutely not. They're they have the same characteristics: open, low, high, close, open, high, low, close. So if you're able to apply those concepts to every single time frame, it's very, very, very beneficial to you, right? Because you're not going to be stuck on one time frame. And if, well, like I said, but this week, coming into this week, I don't really have a bias. I can't really anticipate a open high low close or open low high close. So I can't really apply this concept here. But if I knew what prices wants to do, right? Let's just say I'm anticipating an up close candle here on the weekly time frame. Then it's best for me to be a buyer below the weekly open. But here on this, in this case, I'm not completely confident in either direction in the markets right now, to be honest. Okay, yeah, bye. But yeah, that is what I'm kind of, anticipating here for the market, or not anticipating in this case, because I'm not really on the side here. But yeah, I hope that kind of shows you guys how I view prices. It is a little bit it's easy to the way that you're supposed to read prices, or the way I read prices at least, but there's more like confluences to that for sure. But yeah, coming into this morning, I'm gonna just have to elect to wait for the 8-hour candle closure and the 4-hour candle closure to completely close, and then I'll say, I guess I'll try to confirm or pick a side here. But let's take a look at the 4-hour time frame. So these set of candles here within this red box is the 4-hour time frame. If we close here, right, on this 4-hour candle, this one right here, we're going to create a 4-hour fair value gap. And some certain characteristics of a fair value gap in general is that every fair value gap is created with a 3-candle pattern, right? So this is the first candle in this case for this specific fair value gap. This is the second, and the second I'll denote as a purple line, and the blue line will be the third candle. So there's 1, 2, 3. There's always 3 candles in a creation of a fair value gap. And notice here, the current 4-hour candle right now, if we close, will be a closure above the second candle's high. If we close above the second candle's high, then I would anticipate this fair value gap here to be a breakaway gap, meaning I don't want to see prices rebalance into this fair value gap, right? That fair value gap should be left open if we close above the second fair value gap's candle's high. And that's my theory on like breakaway gap. I'm not completely sure how ICT breaks it down, but that's kind of my version of a breakaway gap, right? And here too, with the way that we're closing here on this 8-hour candle here, it looks like we're we gapped down, so we're most likely going to rebalance or retrace inside this new week opening gap, or this gap down here. But yeah, just pay close attention to how we close here on this 4-hour candle, because that's going to tell us a lot of information, right? Whether we're going to rebalance the fair value gap that we're possibly going to create on the 4-hour time frame, which is right here, or we're going to treat it as a breakaway gap. But that's essentially what I do have coming into this morning. I'm going to be right back. I'm going to go get some food. And yeah, give me 1 second. Let's see here. Hourly candle. Kind of creating a bearish closure here. I'm not as of right now. But we'll see. We will see. And if we close above here on this 4-hour time frame, if we close below the second candle's high, then I'll treat this fair value gap as a gap that gets rebalanced, meaning that means I will have a bearish bias here for the next 4 hours for the 4-hour time frame. So my morning objective is going to depend on how we close here on this 4-hour. It's pretty crucial with the way that we're going to close here on the 4-hour time frame. Let's see. Yeah, just a whole lot of consolidation, right? Like this kind of back and forth here is not something that you want to be a part of. Trading in those conditions are not necessarily the greatest, and the best thing for you to do is nothing. Sometimes doing nothing is better than doing something here in this case, right? There's no need for you to force a idea onto the markets. There's no need for you to force a model or a trade, right? In this case, it's better to preserve your capital than try to force anything. See, 12-hour time frame. Daily time frame. So let's see here. We do have some competition. I don't know what. I've never competed in a competition like this before on TradingView. It's interesting. The league sponsored by CME Group. Kind of cool on TradingView if you guys do want to be a part of the competition. But at 10 a.m., if we're not giving a opportunity to answer or a model or anything like that, I'm going to go over some of the pros and cons with you guys from previous week. But that's going to be after we close here on the 4-hour time frame. But yeah, hopefully everybody has had a good week so far, or a good weekend. The weekend is a good time for you to reflect on the previous week. Just kind of, go over what you accomplished, some of the things that you're grateful for, what are the things that you learned from last week, and what are some targets that you have in mind coming into the next week, right? Yeah, a very reflectionative, or I guess the weekend for me is just used for just reflecting and just kind of reminding myself what my my goals are, what basically goes in what I'm working towards, right? swing high to swing low. There's a dealing range there. Hourly dealing range. Also another dealing range here. And another dealing range here. I'll do this one just because this is the first dealing range here, I guess, in this time frame. So if we see lower prices, right, it would make sense for us to trade down into the discount of this dealing range here, which is separated by equilibrium. And equilibrium is that green line right there, and it's labeled as 0.5. So if we see lower prices, I want to see prices trade into this green box here coming into the morning session. This green box is discount. And there's, I don't want to say multiple dealing ranges because I don't want to confuse you guys, but there's a swing high or a swing low here and a swing high here. That makes up a dealing range. This also makes another dealing range too. So there's a swing low here, a swing low here, and a swing low here. So there's essentially 3 dealing ranges, right? So you kind of want to be paying attention to how we treat the specific dealing ranges discount. So I'm going to go with the first one here. About 5 minutes left until we close here on this hourly candle and this 4-hour candle slash 8-hour candle as well. The 8 hours isn't necessarily bullish or bearish, right? I mean, if I were to have to pick a side here on this 8-hour time frame, I would like to say that we're bullish, but notice how we're closing here on this hourly time frame, right? Time frame alignment. The 8-hour time frame here, I guess, is suggesting higher prices, but once you go onto the hourly time frame, you're noticing, hey, the hourly isn't exactly suggesting higher prices. It's actually suggesting the exact opposite, right? And that's the idea of of time frame alignment. Lower time frames is not aligned with the higher time frames, so you cannot you can't really force anything here. You're gonna have to either wait for the time frames to align with one another, or use the hourly time frame as your higher time frame order flow. That might have sounded a little bit like questionable, but if prices is fractal, right, that means you can apply the same concepts to every single time frame. You just have to go on to, like, if I'm going to try to base my trade here around the hourly time frame as my higher time frame objective, then I would have to go on to maybe the 15-minute time frame for my model. But let's do this on the 8-hour time frame. But if I'm going to try to align myself here with the 8-hour time frame, higher time frame order flow, then my model could be on the hourly time frame. Instead of the hourly time frame being my higher time frame objective, it's going to be my model, if we're going to be basing it off of the 8-hour time frame, higher time frame order flow. It's so weird. This is so weird. 4-hour time frame right now is suggesting maybe that we could consolidate or rebalance this inefficiency. Hourly time frame 15. Dude, they're all wonky right now. The time frame, it's so wonky. Like this candle right here on the 15-minute time frame, I'm not even confident to say that we're going higher or lower here based on this 15-minute candle. Today is or I guess just like this morning at least, is not clean. Like the prices is not clean right now. And I do not like how we are creating these candles, right? The way that we're closing here. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just not gonna force anything here today. Once we open up here at 10 a.m., I'm gonna go over onto the pros and cons and just completely disregard the charts here for today. Like I said, there are times when conditions are not probable. This is a good time to, or from the way I trade at least, this is a good time where I'm just going to sit on my hands and just like wait for time to pass until there's more structure here. Because right now it is terrible. At least the way that I read prices. Or the way I trade. So this is the 4-hour time frame here. Notice how we closed below the second fair value gaps candles high, right? That's the thing that I wanted to really emphasize here on this 4-hour time frame. So coming into this upcoming 4 hours, I could anticipate for us to rebalance this inefficiency just because we could rebalance this. Just because that we closed above the second fair value gaps candles high, but we could consolidate here too. So those are the two scenarios. There are times where like we close above the second fair value gaps candles high, but we end up just expanding higher too. So I mean, there's a lot of scenarios here that could play out, but right now, like I said, the way that we're closing here on the 15-minute time frame. Really, really nasty price. Like this is not cool, or not cool, but it's just not probable. So, like I said, going into the pros and cons for the previous week. Give me a second. So, for the pros and cons from previous week, I was able to align, or not align, but I was able to identify all of the components that I look for in my strategy, right? So every single trade that I take, or I took last week, I was able to identify a higher time frame objective, a model, and a entry pattern. And I'll go over more specifically what those are in a trade. But yeah, that consistency that I'm able to maintain, right, and practice is what's going to build the long-term success in this game. If you're not able to take consistent models and every single day it's just a whole different approach, you're never going to like build that momentum, build that like foundation for you, right? And for me, the foundation that I have is, for my trading strategy at least, is knowing what my higher time frame objective wants to do, having a model to align myself with that higher time frame objective, and a reason to enter, a fair value gap. Your entry pattern, it could be a order block, it could be a breaker block, it could be a mitigation block, it could be whatever fair or whatever entry pattern that you want it to be. There are a lot of tools that ICT has introduced, but me being who I am, I specifically like fair value gaps. They're like ICT states, they're a lot easier to see, and they're a lot, just the way that I'm able to interpret them makes it a lot easier for me to use them as an entry pattern. But yeah, the idea behind higher time frame objective should be, or is based off of this question here, is why should we continue in a certain direction after completing the model's objective? And like, it's a lot more easy to explain what the higher time frame objective is when I'm going over a trade. Second pro here from last week, understanding time frame alignment, right? The model that I took here last week, the higher time frame objective for this trade was based on the 6-hour candle here. So this 6-hour candle here is suggesting to me that we're most likely going to take out the 6-hour high. So for me to align myself with this specific time frame's objective here, I go onto the hourly time frame. And whenever we close on the 6-hour candle, that means that we close on an hourly candle as well. So this specific hourly candle is suggesting to me that we're most likely going to take out the hourly low. So the hourly time frame is suggesting lower prices, but the 6-hour time frame is suggesting higher prices. There's no alignment between those two time frames, right? So I have to be patient and I have to wait until the lower time frames respects the higher time frame. So after a certain amount of time has passed, we created this bullish hourly candle here. So this hourly candle here is suggesting to me that we're most likely going to take out the hourly high. And this hourly high here, or this hourly candle, is now aligned with the 6-hour order flow, which is still higher prices, right? Because I still want to see the 6-hour high get taken. And that's essentially what time frame alignment is. It's the same concept as, like I told you guys here on the on I guess coming into this morning, right? I wanted to see us rebalance this inefficiency, but to align myself with that, I guess, objective, it would have, I was requiring some sort of bearish candle here on the lower time frames. But like I said, coming into this morning, I would rather just sit on my hands. There's no need for me to force anything. But yeah, time frame alignment. Third thing here, remaining patient. Like today, this is a good day for me to be able to practice that virtue, right? Practice patience. If you don't know if you don't know where prices wants to go, that's completely fine. You should be okay with not knowing. If you don't know, all you have to do is literally wait until the right time presents itself, right? When the right time comes, then you'll be able to identify, your trade strategies. But coming into this week, what can I work on? These things here are more lifestyle based, not really trading, but aligning my actions and thoughts with my goals and values, right? That's something that I am trying to work on coming into this week, and I'm going to work on. Asking myself, hey, is my current action, is my current thought going to benefit me in any way in the future? Is it helping me reach or helping me towards the version of me that I want to be, right? Is the version of me that I want to be, would he be doing this specific action? Would he be thinking these specific thoughts? And that just practices this idea of mindfulness, right? You should always have a idea or have control over your thoughts and your actions. There should always be a purpose behind every single thought you have and every single action. Second thing here, not comparing your journey to another's. And in today's world, it's really hard to do that because the social media, YouTube, like whatever you're on, you're always going to see the pretty side of another person's, I guess, whatever they're doing, right? And having that discipline, having that awareness not to compare yourself, because you're living your own life, right? Everybody lives their own life. There's no need for you to compare their accomplishments to yours, whatever. You should be so immersed in your craft that you don't even have the energy to compare. Like in the story Vagabond, Miyamoto Musashi was so immersed on becoming the strongest swordsman. That was the only thing that he thought of, right? He didn't think of anything else besides the thought of how to improve in being the strongest under the sun is the term that the book uses. And that's kind of who I want to imitate here coming into this upcoming week. But not even upcoming week, but just throughout my entire life, right? So some of the improvements here is to continue to take consistent models, require that higher time frame, require a model, and require some sort of entry pattern for every single trade that I take. I should be able to identify those specific components whenever I'm reviewing a trade. And if I'm trying to explain it to a person, I should be able to explain it clearly. And don't be hesitant when taking a trade. If your trade strategy presents itself, there's no reason for you to be hesitant about the outcome because that's completely out of your control, right? Whether or not prices wants to continue higher or lower is not up to you. It's up to the algorithm, whatever is running the markets. Second thing here, properly aligning time frames. Like I showed you guys in the example. Hourly time frame, I was waiting for the hourly candle to align itself with the 6-hour order flow. That's essentially what time frame aligning is. And if you're not completely confident in a certain direction in the markets, then it is fine for you to sit on your hands, right? It is fine for you to be a spectator from afar. There's no need for you to push a button for specific, for a feeling of you did something. You doing nothing is actually a lot better than you doing something. In the case of when prices are completely out of array, it's just super poor conditions. Third thing here coming into this week, practicing mindfulness, right? Every single action and every single thought that you have, like I said, should be in constant alignment with whatever your values and goals are. And it's a lot easier to be mindful, is to have a vision board. Have some sort of visual representation, physical representation of what your values and goals are. So, like in front of me, whenever I'm trading, there's a picture of all of my goals right in front of me. So I literally have a visual like representation of what I want to accomplish in what life and what I will accomplish, right? And last thing here is aggressive trading. But yeah, that basically sums it up for my pros and cons here coming into today. I do want to go over some of the trades that I took last week just so that I can reinforce the ideas that were I guess I practice. So for this specific trade here from previous week, right? My higher time frame objective here is based on the 2-week time frame. So this candle here is a 2-week candle. And based on how we closed here on this 2-week candle, I can anticipate for the 2-week candle's high to be taken. So it's rather bullish, right? It's a really bullish closure. So I'm anticipating the 2-week time, or I'm anticipating for the next 2 weeks, the next 2 weekly candle to take out the previous 2 weekly candle's high. So I'm bullish here. So to align myself with that time frame, I go onto the weekly time frame or the daily time frame, and I notice, hey, this weekly high here and the way that we close here on this weekly candle is suggesting to me that we're most likely going to continue higher to attack previous week's high. And notice, previous week's high is the same high as the daily high and the 4-hour high. So there's this idea of scope, right? Because the weekly high is the same high as the daily high and the 4-hour high, I am anticipating. Oh, sorry, not the 4-hour high. So the weekly high is the same high as the daily high. So that means I can anticipate the weekly objective to be completed within the next daily, within the next day, right? So I have a higher time frame objective. I have a model now, and my model here is based on this weekly time frame. So the idea behind this is that after we take out previous week's high, we should continue to expand higher towards the 2-week high. So this would be known as a expansion model. And my entry pattern is actually based on this 10-hour fair value gap. So this 10-hour fair value gap here is the entry pattern that I use to align myself with the daily time frame / weekly time frame here. So after or once we opened up here on Sunday, I believe. Yeah, after we opened up here on Sunday, we rebalanced into this 10-hour fair value gap, and that's where I take my entry. And notice, I am buying below the weekly open because I am anticipating for the next weekly time frame to create a open low high close candle. And give me 1 second, my friend's calling right now. Yo, hello.
Yo, Tom, bro, I want to crash out, man.
Brother,
Oh my God,
it's
you
9
can't see
o'clock in
how
the
it
morning,
is.
bro. What do you mean crash out?
This shit sucks, bro. I had a touch old ass teacher for kinesiology, bro. She's not annoying, but like, you can tell she's out of touch, man.
She's
God.
what?
Like she's old.
Brother.
She thinks old, bro.
Like she's what, traditional?
Like, well, it's not even a workout class. It's just sit there and yak about science class, bro.
Oh, so you're not like
That really works out. All they do is a fucking circuit, and then this quote unquote circuit was just what, push-ups. I forgot. Push-ups, body squats, man, and she had the gall to say that. Because
All right. Sorry about that. I completely lost the train of thought. Where was I even at? So, I went over the trade from the previous week. There are a couple more trades here too. Let's see here. What's a... That one's gonna take a decent amount of explaining. I think that's just gonna wrap it up for me, to be honest. I mean, I went over the pros and cons. I went over a trade from the previous week. So we actually completed the 4-hour objective here, which was to rebalance this inefficiency. And then we also completed the 8-hour objective, which is to take out this 8-hour high as well. So, I mean, what a morning, right? What a morning. Like I said, it's still pretty, like, with the way that we're trading, it's still kind of, I don't want to say bad, but it's still, yeah, it's still just, I don't know. But yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning in for, I guess, this portion of the live stream. The last thing that I do want to go over is a daily Stoic quote with you guys. So for today, I'm just gonna get ChatGPT to create it for me. So daily Stoic. What? Daily Stoicism quote. Oh, I spelled it wrong. Daily Stoic quote by Marcus Aurelius. Waste no more time arguing what a man should be, and simply just be a good one. Breakdown. Action over debate. Instead of endlessly discussing morality, philosophy, and self-improvement, the real task is to embody those principles through action. Wisdom is not just knowing what is right, but living it. So, the way that I'm interpreting this right now is that the best thing for you to do is simply to actually do it, right? I can go over all of these, philosophical ideas and concepts with you guys, but I'm not going to be a Stoic person just based on me reading these to you guys, right? The only way that I'm going to be, I guess, Stoic is to actually practice these virtues and these ideas, right, in my day-to-day life. Like I said with you guys, if I'm able to align my thoughts and my actions with who I want to be, right? So I want to be a Stoic human being. I want to imitate the life that Miyamoto Musashi lived. And the only way for me to do that is to actually do it. I can't read books about it and consider myself a Stoic human being for reading books. I actually have to embody it. I actually have to do it. Lead by example. So rather than criticizing others or waiting for the perfect time to change, take immediate steps toward being the kind of person you respect. This kind of reminds me of like the whole idea of New Year's resolution, right? Why wait until the next year? And why wait until the next year for you to do something? Why not just do it now? I think the whole idea of having New Year's resolution is kind of counterintuitive, because you should just do it like right now, right? If you want to do something, why are you postponing it until later? You should just do that thing now. Or like, I will lose 60 weeks or 60, or let's see, I will do my homework, whatever, tomorrow or in a week. Why not just do it now? I want to start a business and I don't have the skills. You should just do it now. Start taking meaningful actions towards whatever that is that you're trying to accomplish, right? What can you do at that current moment that's going to benefit you in whatever vision you have for yourself? Time is precious. Every moment spent over analyzing or seeking external validation is a moment lost. The best way to define virtue is through daily practice. In other words, this is something that I really need to work on here, because for me, I tend to think a lot. So this first part here, over analyzing, is something that I do need to work on. It's, for me, sometimes it's not hard for me to be in the moment, but for sure it's something I need to work on, right? And it's just me as a person. I tend to analyze a lot, but that comes with its pros and cons, right? And seeking external validation, I feel like this is some things that a lot of people, and myself included, do. You know, trying to work towards a physical, monetary thing, right? For you to feel happy is something that you shouldn't be doing, right? The way that I'm interpreting this is that for you to be happy, you shouldn't require a McLaren for you to be happy, right? In life. That doesn't bring you true happiness, as like once you get that McLaren, right? Well, how the whole basis on human nature is that you're going to want something else. You're going to want more afterwards. But if you're able to find peace from within, the happiness from within, that's eternal happiness. That's something that cannot be taken away from you, and not requiring anything from the external world for you to feel a certain way. And your reflection question for today is, what is one action you can take today to live with more integrity and purpose? And yeah, that's going to wrap it up for today's live stream. Sorry if my voice is raspy. I am still kind of sick from previous week, so it's been a little bit difficult for me to actually talk. So yeah, like I said, thank you guys so much for tuning into today's live stream, and until next time, I will see you guys later.